Attention Harlot Podcast. Welcome. Good to see you.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on the podcast. So you've had a lot of success as an actor. You were on the TV show The Closer, which was a big hit. It ran for 7 seasons, and you were doing that as a series regular for 8 years. Is that right?
Yeah, we ran 7.5 years, and then it sort of became a new show. Well, it just mixed into a new show called Major Crimes, which was The Closer without Kyra, and Mary McDonnell was the new head of the show. And so we ran for 7 years with that. So the show, basically, I was employed on that show for 14 years in a row.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And you played Andy Flynn.
Lieutenant Detective Andy
I
Flynn.
didn't realize it became 2 shows. Okay, so that's why. Oh wow, so it was like a spin-off, basically.
Yes.
Okay, very cool, very cool. And so you got that started back, I mean, a while ago, like
2005, I think.
5. So I'm curious, how many callbacks did you have to do to land that role? I mean, that must have been,
well, that was the most interesting thing of all. What happened was the guy who, one of the producers said he wrote a character for me called Provenza. And I, sort of a curmudgeon-y kind of guy, sort of like a pain in the nuts kind of guy. So I went in and I read, and I did a really good job. But what happened was the network said, we don't see him as that curmudgeon-y. We see him more as, so they gave the role then to G.W. Bailey to play Provenza. So I was like, all right. They said, now we want you to read for this other role, which was the role of Kyra's fiance. And then they said, well, you were too forceful. We need some guy who was like a little bit more genteel. Let her be the one, who's like out front, and he's trying to bring her down, guide her. The two of you would be like this every episode. So what happened was I wasn't on the show. And then I thought, oh my God.
You knew the producer. So you knew someone. They wrote the role for you.
All I got was the audition.
Okay.
And then what happened was J.K. Simmons was the other guy, so he was already cast. And then they had 2 other roles. They were for black actors, and they were cast. So I said, so I'm out of luck. So then what happened was I get a call 6 months later, before they started filming, or 5 months later. They said there's a role named Lieutenant Flynn. He's in the first 6 pages of the pilot episode. We would like you to do that role. And there's one other scene, and then maybe we can make him a reoccurring. And I said, okay. So I went in and I did it. I didn't have to read for it. I just went in and did it. And then what happened was the network said, who is this guy? This guy was great.
Cool.
We stormed off, at the end of his 7-page scene. They said, we wanted to know what happened to him. So then they said, let's make him
The audition was 7 pages long?
I didn't audition. I didn't have to audition. They just offered it to me.
They offered it to you. Nice. So it kind of wasn't audition. They had you read 7 pages though.
No, the other two characters convinced them, obviously I had done a lot of work at that point. So they just decided, let me just come in and play a guest star.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Then the network wanted me to be on the show more regularly.
Nice.
So they made me a recurring character for the first year. And then so I did 9 of the 12 episodes. And then the head of the network, Michael Wright, who's now the head of MGM Plus, said to them, hey, listen, those episodes without Flynn, that's 3 episodes too many. So let's make him a regular. So then for the next 6.5 years, I was a regular on the show.
That's amazing. That's so cool. You started out as a guest star. They just loved you, and they're like, let's add this guy. I love that. That's so neat. So did you did you did you always want to be a series regular? Was that the goal for you? Obviously it probably was the goal, right?
Well, my very first job that I ever got, the very first role I ever did was a series regular on a TV series called Crime Story. It was a Michael Mann series. It was set in the 60s, and it starred Dennis Farina, myself, and Stephen Lang. And that was the first job I ever got. And it was like,
you just got success right away. I
auditioned for it.
Yeah.
But apparently there were about 200 people who auditioned for that role, and I got it.
Nice. That doesn't happen very often.
No.
Yeah, that's great.
Especially since I didn't have any footage.
You didn't even have a reel.
I was basically a theater actor in New York.
Oh, okay. So you did have theater training. That probably helped you then a lot, the theater training. So that's where you started, in the theater.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Did you, I mean, so in the theater, and so did you train with a specific teacher, a specific technique, or
I
how did
had
you?
basically I had two teachers. Bill Hickey,
Mm,
you know the movie Pretzi's Honor. The guy
no.
says, "You want a cookie?" The old guy says, "You want a cookie?" Well, anyway, Bill Hickey, very famous actor. He's now gone, God rest his soul. And
Okay.
then Julie Bravasso, who played John Travolta's mother in Saturday Night Fever. So she was the second person I studied with, and Julie recommended me to them.
Oh, nice.
Crime
Okay.
Story. Julie, she recommended me to Bonnie Timmerman, and I went in and I got the role.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, referrals definitely help. I've tried, yeah, I've tried to use that too. I ask my producer friends, "Hey, can I get an audition?" All of that stuff definitely helps. That's
Yes, it
so
does.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So on the show, what was kind of like the vibe? Did it change over the years? Was it more, I feel like shows when they're new, it's the set's always very nervous and very can be chaotic. Do you know what I mean? And then after a while, if the show's been running, I mean, it's like a more relaxed vibe. What was kind of, I guess, like
What shows are you talking about? All the shows that I've
all
been
the
on?
shows, yeah, or just like shows in general. I feel like, when
Well,
they're
Julie
new.
Bravasso once said to me that she said to me, if you get this job, and I got it, and she said, the onus is on you to keep it as fresh and as original as possible because you could really get into a rut.
Hmm,
You come to the set. Oh, I'm this cat. I'm Ray Luca. I know what to do. You
yeah,
don't have
I
to
know
tell
what
me.
to do,
I'm
right?
Andy Flynn. I know what to do. So
Yeah.
I every episode I would go to whoever the director, even up until Major Crimes, which is well, I did All Rise. I did that. They reoccurred on that for a little bit. But all the shows that I did, I would go to the director of each episode and say, "If you want me to try something different, just let me know." And they go, "Really?" And I'd say, "Yeah, I want it to be fresh. I want it to be new." And so they'd say, "All right, well, try this." And I said, "Sure, okay." I would give it a shot.
Nice. I've noticed over the years when I've been on sets acting and stuff, that actors have kind of obtained more creative control by being the producers. And so they do put more input with, right? Have you seen that too with the directors? You know what I mean? Like they're almost like directing themselves, or they have more creative control in that way. Did you also see that happen in your career as far as
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
director actor relationship?
Kyra became an executive producer on The Closer, and she had some pretty good ideas. So it was, it didn't hurt the show in the least that she had some ideas to, she put her 2 cents in. They were paying for it, so she gave them
Yeah.
2 cents. Mary, Mary was an Mary was an executive producer, and Mary had some wonderful ideas as well. And she would put her 2 cents in. Sometimes, you hear stories about certain actors, you'd say, keep your 2 cents and, and go home and cry to your mother because I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, some people don't know how to ad lib, some people don't know how to improvise. And apparently, if you can do that, it's which apparently people tell me I'm good at improvising. So,
Okay.
you know, I try my best with that, but I do what's written, and I won't interfere with the plot. I won't ever interfere with the plot. So if I'm going to throw in an ad lib
Mhm.
or an improvise something, I'll do it at the beginning of the scene or near the end of the scene. So if they don't like it, they can just cut it out.
Like a tag. Yeah, I love improvising. I always make my actors, do improv, and I love doing improv. So that's cool that you were able to do that. And I think it is an important skill to have. It just makes it more real. You can always add, especially like comedically. I mean, some of the great, as you know, the greatest scenes were improv in movies. So
I mean, I learned a lot of that from Julie Bavasso when I studied with her. She was very much into improv, very
okay.
much into improv.
Yeah, I love improv. I did UCB and stuff. So I mean, as far as memorizing lines, I mean, is that God, that's a lot of line memorization, right? How did you handle that? I heard on the set of Friends, the TV show Friends, they said they actually had just like lines pasted, everywhere on set to help them read and memorize. Is that something you guys did, or?
No, we didn't get to that point, but some people, I mean, some people have, you know, they'll they'll basically they'll cut a lot of times in between takes and just look at the lines over and over again. Excuse me,
Or they'll say on set,
I have a
line.
little throat giggle.
There's always the
Tickle.
helpful
But
line.
Kyra Sedgwick had like mountains worth of I
Mm.
mean, just volumes of dialogue, and Mary too. But they were great at memorizing and knowing their lines. But I've been on some sets where I was. I'm not going to say who it was, but
I've been on some sets too.
he had this one guy had the pages written all over the walls, you know, and
Oh wow.
everything. And like,
Oh
so
wow.
then what happened was, unbeknownst to me, this guy was a big fan of mine. So
Hmm.
when I got up on the set, you know, he saw my name and he wasn't sure. And then he was doing this movie, this independent movie. You know, this pretty big star too, this guy. And he's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you were in this movie." And I said, "Yeah, I know the producer." And he goes, "Oh my God, oh my God, all right, I gotta." So when we did the scene, they told me later on, you know, I was the first actor he worked with where he didn't ever look at the lines.
Oh wow,
He
interesting.
just suddenly, you know,
Felt he wanted to impress you. He felt
I
like you were
guess.
very professional and he wanted that's cool. Yeah, I've been on set sometimes where actually like lead actors don't know their lines and yeah, it can be very frustrating,
It's a
but
bad habit to get into. I mean, they could do what
yeah.
Brando used to do. Brando used to put a little earpiece in his ear, and people
Oh,
would tell
really?
him the line. Yeah,
Oh, nice. That's a fun trick.
but then
Yeah.
you got to be as good as Brando to carry it, you know, to
Oh,
pull that
Brando
off.
did that. I didn't know he did that.
A
Okay.
little later on in life, he did. Yeah,
Okay. What do you think made the show you were on so successful, The Closer? Do you think it was the writing? What was it, the acting? Was it, you know,
I, I think it was a combination of everything. I mean, it was really good plots. I mean, number
good
one,
plots?
very good plots and a really good cast. You know, Kira was wonderful. JK was wonderful. GW and I, we had our own little sort of, you know, comic thing going on with, you know, we were like sort of the comic relief sometimes in these like really horrible crime scenes.
Oh yeah. Was it? Yeah. I mean, that's another thing, question I could, yeah, on sets, there's always a different vibe for sure, depending on what the show is. I feel like the set mimics what the show is about often, right? Like it
Well,
can be,
yeah, there
yeah.
was one episode we did where the crime scene was based. Our Mike Burcham was he was a former detective for the LAPD, and he was, you know, on so many. I mean, so many crime scenes, and this one particular case was something he wrote the episode, and so he came and he staged this crime scene exactly as he remembered it. It was so gruesome, and
Mhm.
even though it was all like basically fake, you
Yeah.
know, I had to leave the set for a second
Wow. Because it was
because it
that
involved
intense.
two
Yeah.
children being killed.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
I went outside and I went, wow, man, how did you go? So that's when I started. I remember I did an interview not too long after that because it was really early on in the series. And I said, look, my life begins, you know, after the word action and ends when it says cut.
You're
Real
not one of
cops,
those method actors, you
real
don't.
cops, when they wake up in the morning, it's action. And when they go to sleep at night, it's cut. So they got all that stuff in between. So
But so you guys kept, you would tell jokes on set, keep it light in
well, that's
between.
what happened. One day I joked. I made a joke. There was a dead guy. We were in the park and there was a judge and he was in the middle and his cell phone was ringing. So I just, as we were gathered around, everybody's like looking and I went, it's the stiff. And everybody laughed a little bit, but then they were going to cut it out. But then Mike Burcham said, no, that's what we would do. We would have some gallows humor. Otherwise we go crazy. If you don't
Right.
have any
Yeah,
gallows humor, you're
it's
going to go out
like
of your mind.
too much drama. Too
Yeah.
so as far as your acting, do you use kind of some of your real life? How do you, because you had mentioned to me recently, you can sometimes get in really dark places. You can go to really dark places. Do you use real life experiences? How do you find your creative, actor?
It comes and it goes. I mean, sometimes I use real life examples, you know, memories. You know, I don't know if I'm a sense memory kind of actor, but I do. I'm not necessarily method, but I understand people who use method
Right.
and sense memory. I mean, a lot of different things I'll use, but most times I realize that uh, like I could cry at the drop of a hat if I just think about the little girl in the movie. Um, Miracle on 34th Street when the little Dutch girl comes in and she can't speak English. And so she says to the woman, you know, this is the real Santa Claus, you know, whatever, you know, and she says, I told him, you know, she doesn't speak any English. And he starts speaking to her in Dutch. And she goes, the way her eyes lit up, and I mean, I can get emotional now just thinking about that, and it's like, uh, it's just these kind of things in real life are things that we can remember. Even though it was a movie, it's representative of certain people that experience things when they finally get, a payoff. And but I've known some shady characters in my life, and they've said certain things that I've sort of ad-libbed into different roles that I've played. Um, and I've known some people who are, well, most of the guys that I know that are sort of live on the edge are dead. One or two of them are still alive, but most of them are dead, and not by their own means.
So you use a lot of real life stuff.
You
I
got
think
it.
I do too. I kind
Dance
of
with who brung you. That's what I say.
what's that? What does that mean?
Dance with who brung you.
Oh, dance with who? Okay, I've never heard that one before. But I like it. Yeah, you almost have to go in your body. I mean, to make it really believable as act, I mean, you really do have to physically feel it.
Well, yeah, I don't mind saying this because I'm very, very pleased. I'm proud of the fact that I'm sober 31 years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But when
That's
I was before I got sober, a lot of
amazing.
times I didn't realize that that part of me was reluctant a lot of times. So I had to, like, before I would do a scene, like, I would listen to music, the Rolling Stones, Street Fighting Man,
Nice.
I would listen to all these kind of songs that would get me to this dark place, so
Okay.
that when I was ready to go, I'd go. And then when I got sober, um, I remember, like, all of a sudden I could summon up these things inside of me instantly.
Mm,
Instantly. I didn't
yeah.
need to listen to all this music and stuff. In fact, I had to, like, make a point to, like, a lot of times, like Mary McDonald would say, boy, there's a different guy, different Tony shows up on the other side of the word action, because before action, he's sitting around talking about the Yankees or baseball or whatever. And next thing you know, they go action. Suddenly whoa, where'd this guy come from?
Just like get into
So
the
coming
character.
from Mary McDonald, that's quite a compliment.
No, that's awesome that you just change yeah, I mean that's
And
real
then when
act
they yell cut, I go right back to, because I don't
just
want to stay in that place.
yeah.
I know
I'm
I
the
can
same
get to it
way.
like
I'm the
this.
same way. I can't yeah, I don't do method, but
It's hard method.
it is. It is. I think it's funny that when people do method and they mess with the people on set, like they're in character the whole time. Like Jim Carrey has done stuff like that cracks me up. That's wild. But so let's see.
Look,
So
I'll respect
yeah,
anybody's process.
sure,
Okay.
absolutely,
I mean, if
absolutely.
they're that kind of actor, then I'll just go sit over by myself. I won't talk to them about anything. If they want to talk to me, fine. Otherwise, I respect anybody's process. As long as
Right.
they understand that at the end of the day, if it ain't fake, it ain't film. So I'm not interested in somebody actually hitting me, because
Yeah.
it makes them feel.
That happened. I just did a stand-up show. That's so funny you mentioned that about a week ago. And this guy was also an actor on a soap opera. Anyway, he was literally stabbed by his scene partner, got too into it. So I was like, wow.
In his acting class.
Yeah, his scene partner actually stabbed him.
Wow. Did they put that guy away?
I mean, but yeah, that's
I
never
mean, protect the rest of the Hollywood
that's could
community.
be dangerous. That's could be what are some, I guess maybe tell me some on that note, like wild stories on the show. Is there any kind of freak accidents or I mean, I don't know, any drama behind the scenes
Well, I
or
don't like to mention names, but I was once
sure.
working with an actor who just thought that it was okay to, grab you, and I said, whoa, 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 and in the middle, right? They go, what? The cut? And they go, what do you mean cut?
Oh, like a
I said,
fighting scene or
yeah,
like
and I said, you grab my arm, like, let me. I'll tell you
uh-oh.
what.
Yeah.
Let me control the struggle. You just
Mm.
hold on to me, but I'll control the struggle.
So that
And
almost
you
happened
just
to you.
and he
Yeah.
was like, well, how's that going to look? I said, if the director thinks it looks like fake, I said,
Yeah.
then we'll try something else. So then it did. And then as soon as the scene was over, a few people came up, Tony, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine.
Mm. Gotta
And
like put up a boundary. Yeah, yeah.
because I made it look like he was really hurting me.
Got it.
That's what
Oh,
acting's
you
about.
needed. Right,
If it
right,
ain't
right.
fake,
You have to actually, yeah.
Lee Marvin used to say, if it ain't fake, it ain't film.
Yeah. What else? So what are you working on? What are you working on now? Is there a role you haven't done that you want to do? Is there something that, you've done so much?
Well,
Is
if
there
I get a chance, I'd love to play a lawyer. I haven't played a
really?
lawyer yet, and a
Okay,
cowboy.
maybe look, I want to create a comedy, a legal comedy.
I
Maybe
love
I'll
comedy. I
cast
love
you.
comedy.
Yeah, I'm trying to make
When
some
I
shit.
got cast in Crime Story, you
Huh?
know, uh, the character, I mean, the first year my character killed 55 people. I was a complete like mafia crazy man.
Nice.
And
Those are the funnest roles.
My friends in New York said to me, "You're playing a killer?" You know, you because I was doing light romantic comedy theater all the time.
Okay. Killers are that's like my dream role is like a serial killer because they're so fun to play. The evil
Yeah.
characters are fun to
Yeah.
play. But yeah, don't you think? Because we can't do that in real life. I mean, so
You write a legal comedy, let me know, or a
okay,
drama
I will.
comedy. I
I
mean,
will.
a
I have
legal
pilots.
drama, let me
I
know.
have pilots. I've been pitching. So you like to play, yeah, so you played murder, so you've already done that. Is there anything you haven't? So you said lawyer. What do you
Lawyer and cowboy. Cowboy.
or
I love to play cowboy.
cowboy?
I like to play cowboy.
They're making those again. There are some of those.
Westerns never go out of style because it's really clearly there's the white hats and the black hats, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you working on currently? Are you still auditioning? What are you doing these
Well, I
days?
audition when they ask me to, and sometimes I don't have to.
Nice.
Um,
That's so
if,
great.
if they ask me to, I look at it this way. If they
Auditioning,
have
oh,
to,
so annoying, isn't
right,
it?
what are you going
Yeah.
to say? What are you going
Auditioning
to say?
so annoying. Like it can be real because you're up against so many people and it's.
The one good thing about auditioning, or two good things about auditioning, it helps you to really prepare to get to find things about the role that you didn't know were there in a preliminary sense before you even get onto the set. I mean, I look at the audition process as a two-act play. It's you prepare for it and then you actually do the audition. That's your job, just to do the audition. It's not
So
a
you
matter
do,
of getting it. But then when you
yeah.
get it, it's another two-act play. Then it's like doing it and then and refining it. And like I realized that as an actor, what I enjoy most of the time about auditioning for a role is that when you do get the role, you know that they really want you. I mean, then they're not just offering it to you because you're in some name. They're giving it to you because you really earned it,
Oh, that you can actually act. Like you
or
have,
that you earned that role. Yeah,
that you earned it.
yeah.
Do you do a lot of like Zoom auditions
Oh,
on
that's what they do nowadays.
remote?
Is Zoom
That's all
audition.
you do is remote.
It's okay with me.
You're fine with it. I like it because we can, edit our own takes if we don't, it's kind of less pressure and nice in that way.
You do it
So,
over again if you don't like it.
right, right. So how do you break down a script? You get a script. I guess kind of describe me your process. Do you talk out loud? Do you use a scene partner? I mean, I do all these things where to memorize and read it out. Is there like a specific technique, I guess, you
Yeah, I
break
guess my
down the scene?
technique is I read it. I read it quietly to myself. Make little marks and about certain things that maybe I understand. I don't understand, and then I'll ask somebody, "Hey, what do you think this means?" If I don't get it, and then I'll read it. I'll read my character aloud,
Yeah, out loud.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I'll read it aloud, and then I'll sort of like almost aloud the other characters. You
Like
know,
reading or I'll like drive in my car and be like saying it, stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. And then sometimes what I'll do, depending on the character and the play, sometimes I'll read the other person's lines
Oh,
out loud,
interesting. Okay, I
to
like that.
see
Yeah.
to think like what do they what they might be feeling. Though they might bring something entirely different, the actor who does the role. But I just want to keep myself. You know, I want to parry. I want to be
Have good
ready.
reaction. So you have good reaction. No, I like that. I didn't think about that. That's a good one. Instead of having a scene partner, you actually read it and get into
I'm
the,
here to have fun. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I'm here to have fun.
yeah. Absolutely. Acting's so fun. I love it. I'm
I
trying
love it.
to do it more
The
myself.
scene in Patton when George C. Scott says he's overlooking the battlefield, as a general and a soldier, and he said, "I love it. God help me, I love it. So I love it more than life
Yeah,
itself."
I
And
love being on
that's
sets.
the way I feel about acting.
I like writing. Have you written stuff as well
Yeah,
or
I
yeah,
have
yeah,
a screenplay for a pilot that with my friend Jack and I turned now into a feature film,
nice.
backdoor pilot that we wrote. That I mean is really really good. I mean, it's like wow. I mean, it's like the feedback we've
You
been
have
getting on it has
you
been
have a writing
spectacular.
partner? You have
My friend
partners?
Jack Maxwell. Yeah, we in fact we have this one scene in the pilot that he said to me, Tony, he said, I want to add a scene here, and I said, well, go ahead, have fun, do what you want. He writes this scene, and I'm telling you, when this show gets off the ground and is on the air, that scene is going to be a scene that actors are going to do for
Now
the
I
next
want to read it.
25, 30 years in acting
I
classes.
want to read what you wrote. I have a script I need to. God, I get so busy with others, but I have to really make it a point to I used to write in a coffee shop in Hollywood. It's not there anymore. And I'm like, damn, that was like my writing spot. So, for me, I have to go in a coffee shop and really, that's where I really do my best writing. I can focus and work. So, but yeah, I have a script I need to finish. Like it's finished, but I need to edit it. I need to make it better. But yeah, it's a drama. It's more of a drama, but, yeah, so that's so cool. Well, hopefully we can work together soon, get these projects
From
off.
your mouth to God's ears. I'm
Hell
ready.
yeah, let's do it. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast episode, and I'll talk to you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen.